I'd like to call this meeting to order at 6:03. Can I have a pledge of allegiance? Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first thing I'd like to do is congratulate all the new delegates and welcome back the ones who've been here before. So next on the agenda is the attendance roll, and I'd like to, without objection, I'd like to appoint our Representative Julia Harvey-Williams.
That's right.
To get that all mixed up. Doesn't go off the tongue, good for me. I'd like her to take the minutes of this meeting until there's a new one.
Secretary Pro Tem.
Right. Okay, without objection. Seeing none, so will be it. Thank you.
Call the roll.
Yes.
Glenn is not here. Harry Dean,
Present.
Steve Bogert,
Here.
Mike Horace.
Here.
Matt Coker, not here. Or is he? Okay, yeah, that's right. Barbara Compa. Yeah. Russ Dumay. Here. Lisa Freeman. Present. Claire's here. Matthew Money.
Here.
Jerry Minor. Here. David Nagel. Tom Page, not here. Charlie St. Clair. He's not here, but not here. Okay. Paul Terry. Paul is here.
Yeah, yes, I'm here.
Does that stay here because of the
Present.
recording present? Brad Stoner.
Here.
Right here.
Here.
Peter Varney, not here. Great, thank you. 11 members present.
We have 11, we only need 9 for a quorum, so we have a quorum. The next thing is, somebody gonna make a motion to allow the people on Zoom.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Is there any discussion on whether or not to let them in on Zoom? Seeing none?
Can we just say, no, without objection?
Without
Roll call.
objection.
Oh, I think everything has to be on a vote. Well, no, we can be because we're not on Zoom yet.
Right, that's, when we're on
So-
Zoom, everything's roll call.
Without objection.
So without objection, so carried.
So, Mr. Chairman, so who's coming on?
Well, I don't know yet.
Oh,
Charlie Sinclair, Representative Sinclair, sorry. There's.
Find out where he is.
That's it.
who he's with.
Just try.
Representative Sinclair, can you tell us where you are and who you're with?
You're muted.
To speak. Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Lose him or?
I am here.
He's unmuted.
I am here.
It's just got his name up there, not his picture anymore. I don't know what's going on. So is there anybody else that's gonna try to enter on Zoom?
Not that I know of.
Representative Aldrich had said that he may try
He was
to.
gonna try to participate by calling, but it would show up there.
So how are we gonna contact Representative St. Clair?
Okay.
Uh,
All right, now he's gone. I guess if he shows up again, maybe you can reconsider it, but not near now.
Okay, so we'll put that on hold until he comes back, I guess. Um, next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
So
We have a motion. Barbara, Representative Comtois, sorry,
I have a question on it. Do we need a
on the
second?
agenda.
I'm here now.
We need a second. and then
I'll
we'll-
second it so I can ask a question.
Okay,
Other business, do we have to list what other businesses or can we just discuss anything? Discussing
No.
what?
no which.
if other business is not added to the agenda prior to the approval of the agenda, it can only be added later in the meeting, 2/3 vote.
Okay, but it's on here as other business.
Well, it shouldn't be there, technically.
So is that what you'd like to do, is remove other business?
Yes.
Is that a motion? We got a vote.
I want to add business.
So you want to, then you do, then you move to add it to the agenda.
Yeah. I would like to just talk about the gun stock audit report that we got.
So we'll just do that under other business then.
Right, but he said I have to specify, right?
Well-
Under business?
We have a
Under
motion
other
and a
business,
second.
under other business, we would now list gun stock audit discussion,
Okay,
because it was not placed on the agenda prior to the meeting. But it now may be properly considered once the agenda is approved.
we have two parliamentarians here. You agree with all that?
Whatever.
Close enough? Okay, so that's what we'll do, and then maybe when we get to other business, if somebody wants to put something else in, I don't know, they can't.
That would take it.
This other business was on the agenda all last term.
That's right, and we either added or we didn't add it. If we didn't add, then we skipped over it because we didn't put it on beforehand, or there was not a motion for a 2/3 vote to put it on later during the meeting.
It's true.
So we didn't have any problems.
Okay,
We said, we don't have any problem tonight either.
I don't think so either. So do we have, so is there any further discussion on the agenda?
Does that have to be an amendment?
No. I agree, I agree that it be added, so I'm the maker of the motion, you're the seconder, you agree, therefore it becomes the main motion to approve with the addition of unstock audit report.
Okay, so we don't have anybody on Zoom. Oh, yes, we do. It's Charlie's back.
Is that, when speaking,
Representative St.
I'm
Clair,
here.
can you hear us?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Why can't you hear me? I am unmuted.
This item with gun stock.
We do need to vote on it, but I'm trying to see if we can just vote on it or if it has to be a roll call because he's on Zoom.
Can you hear us, Charlie?
Charlie.
I can hear you. Yes,
Can't hear
yes.
you.
Vote on
He
it
can
now.
hear us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then by the time
Okay.
he gets,
Can you call in?
say without objection, or
No, but it's talking to Zoom.
Yeah, but there's a phone number.
No, I want
The rest on the. How we come in.
Mhm.
Yeah, so.
Can we just pass that without objection? Or do you want to have a
Yeah.
hand vote?
if you just stick people's hands up, it'll be done.
Okay.
Yes.
So until we can get this again taken care of, I guess we're just gonna vote. So all in favor of the amendment, raise your hand.
Approval of these.
Approved. Unanimous,
and
11 ayes. Okay, okay, approval of minutes from 8/22/24. And this. Where you, Representative Terry.
Chairman, I move deferral of the consideration of the minutes until the next meeting, and if the motion is seconded, I'll speak to it.
I'll second that.
Mr. Chairman, technically,
Just a
under
second, we gotta let the secretary catch up here.
so.
defer consideration of the minutes of 8/22/2024 until the next meeting.
Okay, so that's just for that one. So that's your motion. You have a second. Is there any further discussion?
So you want me to speak to it? Or
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, since we operate under Robert's Rules of Order, the minutes need to be prepared and submitted by a member of the body, either as secretary or secretary pro tem. I'm sorry, my former life, the clerk or the clerk pro tem. So what needs to be done to remedially is that these minutes need to come back to us, having been submitted either by the clerk or the clerk pro tem, and I believe the clerk was Representative O'Hara. So once that deficiency is cured, we will be able to move forward with consideration of the minutes.
Representative Comtois.
Thank you. I also have some other things that I was concerned about on the minutes. One, vote to appoint Gunstock Area Commissioner. It says that there was a roll call vote, but it doesn't talk about the votes and how it doesn't show the roll call on here. So we don't know who voted for who. I think that's an important distinction. And I think some of the questions that were asked of the interviewees should also be listed. Just because, and this could be, this is definitely the roll call, but the questions asked, so we have an idea and people can understand what we're asking these commissioners for when these new people come up to elect a new commissioner this cycle around. They have an idea. So, but
Isn't the meetings are on tape somewhere?
then that's fine. But you definitely have to have your roll call on here.
Okay, we probably can find out there too. I'll get a hold of the Honorable Travis O'Hara and see if he can come forth with that. Do you want to include in your motion here the executive committee meeting, because it was two. And that wasn't written by him either.
So on the, well, you want me to answer the question?
Sorry, I just back to Representative Comtois' point. Isn't the roll call on second page under Gunstock Area Commission interviews on the back?
Yes, it's roll call vote because it say he voted. He didn't, he voted.
We're gonna wind up having to look back at the tapes. But do you want to add this?
Yeah.
Executive committee meeting?
No,
Because it's the same
well,
thing.
no, for two reasons. First of all, it's not on the agenda. And second, the approval of the minutes from 8/22/24. That's the delegation meeting minutes, unless you're also suggesting that that's the executive committee meet? Well, then it should have said meetings of the delegation and the executive. However, my second point is that you can't ask the delegation as a whole to approve the minutes of the executive committee. Only the executive committee can approve the minutes of the executive committee because we're not members of the executive committee. So can't do it anyway. When Paul Smith retires, I'm going to. And Mr. Chairman, if I might suggest, when you contact the Honorable Travis O'Hara, if he has any questions about whether or not he can sign off on these because his memory does not necessarily include accurate and complete memory of that meeting, he can go back and he can look at the tape of the meeting so that whatever he may want to add or subtract from the minutes that were proposed for this evening, he can do so, and we'll be all set to consider them at the next meeting.
So are you adding this to your motion?
No, I'm just making a suggestion when you speak to him in case he goes like this. I'm ready to
Representative
vote.
Comtois.
Yeah, and he should have a record of the vote because of the roll call.
Yes, he should be fine.
I think he'll be fine.
He should be fine.
So is there any further discussion on the motion?
I do have a question, Mr. Chair. So would it be more appropriate to just table the approval of the agenda until we can reconvene? at our next meeting?
No, technically you defer consideration of the minutes. You don't need to table. Because there was no motion to accept it. You only table motions. You only table when you have a motion. There was no motion. My motion at the very beginning was to defer consideration.
I understand that. So your motion is on the floor, but what I'm saying is maybe you would make a friendly amendment to that so we can just table it and we can work out the kinks and find out what's going on.
Representative Freeman, my friend, there's no need to table a motion that was never made.
I
The
understand.
motion, so there's no need to table. We're moving to defer consideration of the minutes until the next meeting. Okay, thank you.
And who seconded that?
Representative Comtois. Any further discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Carried. Okay, next is the election of officers for the delegation. Okay, so the way that this has been done before is there's nominations from the delegation. They were each offered. We'll start with the chair. There's 11 of us here. We still, can we get him on yet?
So I tried everything on our end. You didn't see it. I don't know. If
Write it on a paper, put it up there so you hear, you're muted.
you can hear us.
He hears you. You just can't hear him.
Oh. So
You can't vote.
you can't vote, right? So what is it, there's, what, 11 of us?
Unless he held up his sign or something, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, but he has to.
See, like now it's not picking up. See, it's not. Well,
Public meeting, it's not.
Okay, whereas there's only 11 delegates here. The majority would be 6. So if there are 3 people that are nominated and one person gets 6 or more, they're elected. If nobody gets 6 or more, the low person on the totem pole is deleted from the next round. Okay, are there any objections to that?
did the phone audio.
Move the nomination. Close.
It's either, it may be Representative Aldrich has joined. Can you hear us, Representative Aldrich? Or maybe it's Representative St. Clair.
Let me mute this one and see if this one comes through.
Anybody out there?
Yeah.
594.
No,
All right,
no.
we can't hear anything on this end. Well, we hear someone shuffling around. It is?
That is true. Okay.
I'm on if anybody's listening. I think.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Perfect.
Asked him a question where I can satisfy. Where is that? Representative St. Clair.
I'm here. It's really tough to hear you. It's tough to hear you guys, but I can hear you.
Okay. I'd like you to tell us where you are, who you're with.
Say that again.
You need to tell
Not
us
good.
where you are, and who you are with.
I'm with nobody.
Can
I'm
you
by
tell us?
myself. I'm by myself. I'm in Boston.
By himself in Boston.
I don't think this is gonna work, kids. I really don't. It's really hard to hear you. I went through the whole thing, and I just hate delaying the meeting. You've got quorum. Anything you wanna do with me, Mr. Chair, go ahead and do it, and, I'll be there, okay? No, I've lost you altogether, I think. Hello? It's just not working.
You're a mic. Close.
The mic is right over Harry. It's,
Yeah.
I've tested the mic.
All roll, please.
Harry Bean,
Yes.
Steve Bogart,
Yes.
Michael Ward,
Yes.
Earl Conflon,
Yes.
James Freeman.
Aye.
Mayor Brooks. Yes. Matthew Lonnie,
Yes.
Mary Minor.
Yes.
Charlie St. Clair. Do you vote to close the nomination for chair? Say yes.
He hung up.
Yes.
Doug Collier?
Yes.
Okay, so it's unanimously, the nominations are closed. I don't know how that works from there. Okay, so
We've got raised hands.
just raise hands. All in favor, please raise your hand. Oh, there's only one nomination, so.
Yep.
Oh, thank you.
We did vote. Yes.
So, does it have to be a roll call because it is a nomination and it can't be by hand because we're actually electing officers? I'm asking a question. It's a parliamentary, it's a piece.
I think she's right.
It has to be by roll.
Yes, it should be by roll because
I think it is right.
it's an election of an officer.
They got me all confused.
However, I'm sorry, technically, yes, it's a roll call. However, you can infer when it's a 14-0 that everybody voted yes, but yes, it should be a roll call.
Do the roll call, please.
Harry Bean.
Could you ask the
Yeah.
question again, please? What's the question that we were answering to?
To nominate, elect Harry Bean as chair.
Thank you.
So we're voting for Harry for chair, yes or no?
Yeah.
Harry for
Or
chair,
no.
yes or no? Yeah. Thank you. Steve Bogart,
Yes.
Mike Ward,
Yes.
Earl Conflon,
Yes.
Aye.
votes yes. Matthew Lonnie,
Yes.
Sherry Minor,
Yes.
no Charlie, Paul Terry,
Yes.
Travis Jones,
Yes.
Doug Star, Collier,
Yes.
and it's 11.
Carried, I guess.
Carried unanimously.
No, elected.
Elected, carried, thank you.
11.
Elect.
Okay, so the next is gonna be the vice chair. Nominations for vice chair, okay?
Representative Board.
We have a second.
I'll second that.
Move the nominations be closed.
Second.
Vote.
All in favor of closing the nominations, raise your hand. Unanimous. Now we vote on representative boards for vice chair. All in favor,
No,
No, you
roll
do by
call.
roll.
roll call.
Okay, okay, to elect Mike Boards as vice chair. Yes or no? Representative Bean,
Yes.
Representative Bogert,
Yes.
Representative Boards,
Yes.
Representative Contois,
No,
Representative Freeman.
Aye.
Clerk votes yes. Representative Lunny,
Yes.
Representative Biner,
Yes.
Representative Terry,
Yes.
Representative Toner. Representative Trotter,
Yes.
and that is 10-1, motion passes.
So.
Can I come
Boy.
through? You can hear me now, so I would vote yes. Thank you.
Ask if he can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yes,
Don't touch anything.
Yeah, don't touch anything, I agree with that. So that election is complete. Okay, so now I want to open up nominations for the clerk. Representative Boards.
I'd like to nominate Representative Hardy Bowley for the clerk position.
I'll second.
Can I make a nomination or? I'd like to nominate, Representative Teller.
I'll second that.
Okay, what I'm supposed to be doing here is asking you if you'll accept the nomination. You and you. Because, you know, we can vote all day long. If you don't want to do the job, ain't gonna work.
Right, no.
So
I'm
will you
saying
accept it if you're elected? You accept the position if you're elected?
I'm just saying, I do action minutes. I don't do long narratives. So thinking I'll do it if I have to, but if somebody else wants to do a thorough job, then I'm going.
You don't want me to do this.
So you don't need to try to, yes.
With all due respect, under Robert's rules, the minutes are supposed to be concise, and therefore they're not supposed to contain narratives. Therefore, your concern, Juliet, is really moot, because you're not supposed to be publishing transcripts and narratives. You're supposed to be reporting actions that are taken.
Yes.
Technically speaking, you don't even have to report failed motions, but now we're really getting to it. Okay.
So you decline the nomination? Okay. So we only have one nomination. Are there any other nominations for clerk?
Would anybody else like to?
Move the nominations be closed.
I'll second that.
I'll third that.
Who made the motion?
I did.
Fine. And who seconded it?
Barbara.
Barbara.
Representative.
Okay.
If you close.
You up next. Okay.
We're gonna get formal, then during roll calls, we have to, competitive.
To cease nominations. You made the motion? Representative Terry?
Yeah, I'm voting.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
You
second.
can't. He's in now.
everything has to be roll call.
Before,
Everything has to be rolled.
All right.
may I ask
I move that we move.
a parliamentary inquiry?
Yes, sir.
Who was suggested to be, who was nominated?
Representative Harvey Bowley.
Okay, thank you.
And then Representative Toner was also nominated.
He declined the nomination.
Okay, thank you.
So we have one nominee. So you made a motion to.
Moved and seconded. Close
Okay, so now you
nominations.
do a roll
Now I gotta have a
call.
roll.
Closing of the nominations.
Yes.
Okay, closing of nominations for clerk, Representative Dean,
Yes.
Representative Bogert,
Yes,
Representative Boards,
Yes.
Representative Contois,
Yes.
Representative Freeman.
Aye.
Clerk votes yes. Representative,
Yes.
Representative Biner,
Yes.
Representative St. Clair. Can you hear
Yes.
me?
Yes.
Thank
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you. Representative Terry,
Yes.
Representative Toner,
Yes.
and Collier,
Yes.
and that's 12-0, motion carries.
So the nominations are closed. Now we have to vote. Representative Bobby Boyer.
Yep. For representative, for myself as clerk, Representative Bean,
Yes.
Representative Bogert,
Yes.
Representative Boards.
Yes.
Francois,
Yes.
Representative Dume. I mean, no, Representative Freeman,
Yes. Aye.
the clerk votes no.
I know, it's gonna do that.
Gotta do it. Representative Lunny,
Yes.
Representative Minor,
Yes.
Representative St. Clair,
Yes.
Representative Terry,
Yes.
Representative Toner,
Yes.
Representative Collier.
Yes.
11-1, motion passes.
And so, you're officially elected.
You're welcome.
So next is the election of executive committee members, and I, to be completely honest with you, I really don't recall how that. Representative Comtois.
Thank you. What is the executive board going to consist of? It's going to consist of 5 members or 7 members?
Is this the,
We
You can do it 5, that's,
yeah, that's what we had last term was 5.
You had 7, I believe, didn't you?
no, we have 5.
5. Okay, just making sure, 5 members?
So does somebody want to make a motion to have 5 members or 7 members or?
I'll make a
Representative
motion for
Bogert.
5 members.
I'll second it. So,
Give me just a second.
yes,
Who made the motion? You?
I did.
And you seconded the motion.
I did.
The maker of the motion gets to go first. If she wants to say anything.
Would you like to speak to your motion?
No. But thank you.
Second.
Representative Comtois.
So the executive committee, the 5 members will make up the 3 elected officials and then 2 other members
Okay.
for a total of 5.
One has to be the Democrat.
Right, so,
So Charlie's elected.
right. And so there's 1 other member that will be on that board.
Okay. So we need to open nominations for the 5th executive committee member. Representative Terry.
I nominate Representative Comtois.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion, anybody, any other nominees?
We'll see how it goes.
You'd like to nominate someone else?
I'd like to nominate Representative Bogert.
I'll second that.
It's 2.
Oh,
Would you like to speak to him?
I would also like to nominate Representative St. Clair, even though, yeah.
No, he has to be on.
Formally, okay.
By law, he has to
Okay,
be on there.
all right,
Keep on it.
it's easy.
Okay, wait a minute, can you do make that last one? You made a motion.
Representative Bogert.
Now, this isn't the,
Second.
this isn't.
Here's the executive committee.
But it's the new committee.
No, that's different. This is an executive committee.
Representative Comtois.
So the executive committee is going to be different than the review committee?
Yes,
Because usually we used to have, well, before last year, the executive committee was the budget committee.
Plus
That's
two.
it. That's how it always was.
There was 7.
Well,
Ms. Shannon.
and I, may I, that's where I got confused with the 7 members versus 5 members, because in the past, the executive committee was it. We didn't have a separate committee. So I'm just throwing that out there.
budget last time.
May I?
The five or.
Representative Comtois.
I just want to defer to Ms. Shackett. Was that, am I correct? It was all one?
Last year, the
Well,
budget,
except for last year, but all the other previous years.
there was many forms of committees, all different committees of all different sizes. Last year it was the executive committee plus 2 other members. So you
Okay.
had 7 members of the budget review committee.
So the 5 executive committee members would be on the budget review committee.
And then we have 2 others usually.
Well-
is what, yeah.
Mr. Chair,
Representative Terry.
because there has been a lack of consistency over the years, this would infer that what we ought to do tonight when it comes to constituting the budget committee, that we did first determine the membership of the committee and then the members of the committee would follow. If you follow me, what we would do is vote, for example, we would vote that the budget committee would be the 5 members of the executive committee plus 2 members at large. Then we would go ahead and elect the members to the budget committee, having determined how the budget committee would be constituted. Got it?
That's what we did last time.
We just don't make it up. We will formally adopt how we're going to constitute the budget committee. And once we've done that, then we will constitute the budget committee with people.
Okay.
It's like you build a house for people and then you put the people in the house.
Okay, so we're gonna have the executive committee members are gonna be 5. We have 4 of them. Representative Boger.
Thank you. I just wanted to point out Russ is now with us.
I got it, yeah. I got it.
Representative Dumas.
Thank you.
Okay, so
We have 2 nominations so far.
we have 2 nominations for this 5th seat. And at this point,
We close nominations. I move we close nominations.
Second,
so
So
who are the 2
Representative
nominees?
Boger or Comtois.
Representative Boger or Representative Comtois?
Mr. Chair, I have a question. Right now, we're voting on the election of the executive committee members, which has been stated it's 5,
Mhm.
correct? So what I have right now is 3. So we need 2 more nominees. Well, no, he makes up 3. Who was the 4th nominee?
Representative St. Clair, because he's the only Democrat.
I have him. All I have is Representative Swanton and Boger.
2, 3. And he's 4.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Thank you for explaining that to me.
Yeah, that was,
That was an-
that is important.
I will withdraw my name and then Representative Boger will be on the executive committee.
We vote on 1 nominee.
So do we have a motion to close the nominations? Have we already done that? Been around the block here a couple of times.
No, we hadn't voted yet.
On closing the
Close the
nominations.
nominations.
We have to vote on closing the
It's
nominations.
gonna be a roll call.
Right, it's a roll call.
Close the nominations on the final officer, the executive committee member.
Do you need someone to make that motion, Mr. Chair?
It's already made and seconded.
I gotta, okay, so I'll call the roll. Okay, to close the nomination for the 5th member, Representative Bean,
Yes.
Representative Boger,
Yes.
Representative Boards.
Yes.
Representative Comtois,
Yes.
Representative Dumais,
Yes.
Representative Freeman.
Aye.
Motion votes yes. Representative Lunny,
Yes.
Representative Minor,
Yes.
Representative St. Clair,
Yes.
Representative Terry,
Yes.
Representative Toner,
Yes.
Representative Collier.
Yes.
Unanimously carried.
Mr. Chairman, now you have a request by Representative Comtois to withdraw.
So we gotta vote on that?
No, she withdraws.
Right.
Now we have 1 candidate.
So we have one candidate.
Now we have 1 candidate because the minutes should show that even though there were 2 nominations subsequently, because you can't withdraw when there's a motion on the floor. Therefore, we had two candidates, now we have one. Because Representative Contois has been recognized. I never thought I was gonna have so much fun tonight. So now you just got one candidate to vote on. I bet you the commissioners' meetings are boring compared to this.
But this usually is. So we have,
Yeah, they are.
so we have, one more.
Yes.
It's, Representative Bogert.
Yes.
We've got to do a roll call on this election.
I'm right here. So for the fifth executive member, the nomination is Steve Over. Want to nominate him? Yes, Representative Bean,
Yes.
Representative Bogert,
Yes.
Representative Forbes,
Yes.
Representative Contois,
Yep.
Representative Dume,
Yes.
Representative Freeman. Aye. Yes, Representative Luddy,
Yes.
Representative Minor,
Yes.
Representative Claire. Thank Claire.
Yes.
Thank you. Representative Terry.
Yes.
Representative Governor,
Yes.
Representative Shoddy.
Yes.
13-0, motion carries.
So elected. Next thing on the agenda is the presentation of the commissioner's recommended budget.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Nice to see you, representatives. So the Board of Commissioners has completed the budget for fiscal year 2025. We were not able to level fund any part of this budget, essentially because of the increases, largely inflationary, owing to higher wages and benefits, mostly, with some ad hoc capital expenses that came across the county complex over the calendar year. So we have some bullet points here, and we'll go through them briefly. And then afterwards, of course, we're happy to answer any of your questions. And then I believe the chairman will open the meeting up to the public, so the public can ask their questions. In terms of doing a deeper dive on the budget, we will of course start that next month with the newly formed executive committee. So if you look at page 1, it's a breakdown of the taxes and how the taxes are collected and what they go to. So please take a moment to go through this page. If you have any questions, we're here to answer them. I will point out, as mentioned earlier, the budget is higher than it was last year. And the percentage of the increase to the county share of the taxes is 11.9%. As far as the actual cost of that, based on the value of the house, we'll address that a little later in the vote presentation. Oh, yes. Oh, thank you. Also, representatives, Mr. Chairman, this presentation is on the website as well. So you can go back to it for reference as needed, especially once the executive committee begins its hearings. And it's a good tool for keeping those who are not in the executive committee up to speed when the actual voting begins. So our next page is of the budget process, and it shows the formula of how the department heads make their presentation to the Board of Commissioners. The commissioners sift through the budget line item by line item. The department heads make their recommendation, and then we act accordingly. Some line items we feel are reasonable and prudent. Others we feel can be trimmed. Occasionally, we may actually suggest increases to line items that might be short during the calendar year. Deborah's prepared something I think is very helpful here with this pie chart. It breaks down and shows what chunks of money go to different parts of the county operations. And as you can see, the nursing home takes up a pretty good percentage of that. I don't think that's a surprise to any of you. As you know, that certainly since COVID, it's been a struggle to keep it staffed and to keep residents in the beds. Yeah, sure. So I think many of you have met Director Richardson. She's here in the audience tonight. So perhaps later on, if you have any direct questions for her, she'll be happy to answer. But this explains the capacity, occupancy, and the number of full-time and part-time employees we have at the nursing home. Next up, we have corrections. We did make some improvements and corrections in the previous year. We were able to provide air conditioning. The corrections has been about where we expected it to be for capacity. We are facing some issues with an aging building that is in need of infrastructure improvements. We are currently looking into ways to perhaps fund the study to determine, is it worth refurbishing the existing jail, or do we need to start from scratch and build a whole new facility? And next up, we have the sheriff's office. I believe the sheriff is still working on, is he still have a surplus? We're still looking at a surplus. Yeah. So Sheriff Wright does have a surplus. He's had a very, very good year here. He has expanded his coverage of different towns that are in need of assistance and additional patrols. And I believe the sheriff is here as well, so he can answer any additional questions you may have after the presentation. And of course, we have administration, and our county administrator, Deborah, is here. And no real surprises. I will say that we're very grateful that the previous iteration of delegation approved the hiring of an IT coordinator. This has really saved a lot of time and created efficiencies within administration. And we have a new county attorney. I think many of you have met him. I want to point out that during the COVID, the 18 to 24 months of COVID, a tremendous backlog was created in the court system. Keith is still trying to get up to speed on that, but he does, I think he had one new hire last year. And that was instrumental in helping him play catch up, but he still is facing somewhat of a backlog. We have John Bossy, Director of Facilities, and I have to say he's done yeoman work for the county. It's hard to tell how well maintained the property is this time of year. We're approaching the dead of winter, but in the summertime, you'll see that the grounds are very, very well maintained, and he's very proactive in terms of taking care of deficiencies before they become a bigger and more expensive problem for the county. And Judith is here from Deeds, and she's retiring. And Laura Lapointe will be replacing her in January. She's here as well. And Deeds had another very, very good, profitable and efficient year. And we have Restorative Justice, Director McFadden is here. And Restorative Justice have a lot of good programs to help reduce recidivism among the juveniles. And he is available to answer any questions as well and explain to you if some of the new members have a question on what the role and function of restorative justice, he will aptly explain that to you. And we have Human Services, which is, as it is in the state, Representative Bean, I know you serve on finance. It takes up a pretty good chunk of expenses, obviously, but we feel that healthcare is really first and foremost, especially for our older citizens. So this is a brief overview of what the county does and what services are provided. I want to go back to that. I mentioned earlier there's an 11.9% increase to the county share of your tax bill. If you look at your tax bill, you'll find that that's the smallest portion. The schools and the fire department take up the much larger chunks. Derek, can you go back to that previous page? One after that. Where's that breakdown on especially by comparison? So I mentioned that there was a 1.9% increase in the county share of the taxes. I believe for a home value at $300,000, that's an extra $36 a year per taxpayer. That's what they're perspective. Overall, the budget is up 5.3%. And again, owing largely to wages and benefits. So with that, Mr. Chairman, we're happy to open up the floor to questions from the delegation. And beyond that, I know there are members of the public here who may have some.
Anybody in the delegation have any questions? Representative Comtois.
Thank you. I was just wondering if we had locked in for oil price review, what term that is and what rate we're paying.
We don't use oil.
We don't use oil? Okay, perfect. Gas, what is the rate?
remember, I'd have to look it up, but we are locked in through Sprague Energy.
Okay, and how long is that term?
I don't know. Look it up.
Okay.
Delegation have any more questions? Representative Comtois.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The other question I have is, are we expecting any money to go back into the fund balance at the end of this year? And if so, what is the dollar amount?
I think it's probably too early to tell, Representative Deborah. Well, we've included $1.2 million use of fund balance, which is in accordance with our fund balance policy, which means that we have a total of either excess revenue that has come in for or expected for 2024 or budgetary savings of that same 1.2. So our policy states that in this current fiscal year of 24, whatever funds are saved, either not spent or excess revenue, we include that in our budget proposal. So $1.2 million is what is anticipated to be essence returned.
Thank you.
Any more questions? No.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had some questions about the restorative justice program. Can someone speak to that?
Of course.
First off, I'm not really sure what that program is about. Can someone give me like a thumbnail?
The director is there, Michael, if you would. If you answer that question.
Yes, very quick. I'm Mike McFadden. I'm the director of the program. Very quick overviews. We have a two-pronged program. One serves the adult population that are diverted from the district and the Superior Court. And then the second prong is the juvenile area of the program. And those referrals come in from the SROs, from the schools. They can come in through the juvenile court. They can come in through Health and Human Services, through the JPPOs. On the adult side, we look at sobriety, education, and employment. Those are our three factors when we bring somebody in. On the juvenile side, it's early intervention. The majority of our kids that come in are dealing with alcohol. They get caught at a bonfire drinking beer, or they get caught smoking pot, or they might get in a fight at school, that type of thing. And so we do early intervention on that, education, try to get them so that they realize, drinking is not the right way to go and the future problems that may exist for them. Both prongs have to deal with community service, where we try to, it's not punitive, it's re-engagement, trying to get them to re-engage and be part of that, especially with juveniles. When they start using alcohol or using THC or other things, they withdraw from the community, they withdraw from their school, they withdraw from sports. We re-engage with that, and that's the whole idea of that, and getting them back on track. Restitution, if there's any damage or anything like that, we look at restorative principles, particularly with juveniles, where we do a panel where if there is a victim of their actions, that victim has a place at the panel if they choose, where they can talk about how the actions of that juvenile impacted them. That actually is very impactful for the individual because it realizes that even if, let's say, they get caught drinking, their parents are a victim of that. The school coach, their teammates may be victims of that. And having to acknowledge that their actions don't just affect them, realizing that it's a broad spectrum of people that it may affect. And it gets them thinking. And a lot of times that's very impactful, more so than any punitive measures that may come as a result of a juvenile hearing or something like that. On the adult side, obviously, the majority of the people we deal with come in with alcohol or drugs dependency or misuse. That's the majority. That's what drives crime. We all know that. If you look at the federal statistics across, the country that come out of DOJ, about 98% of all crimes drug and alcohol related, in that they're either under the influence when they commit the crime or they're committing the crime to support that habit. So when we can intervene on that, get them into programming, whether it be inpatient, intensive outpatient, or other types of programs, and get that turned around for them, that can be life-changing, and that definitely impacts crime in the community. And then, of course, for non-community service, again, re-engagement. getting out there. Many of our programs, like for instance, a program that we just did was the Celebrate Laconia Christmas Tree Project downtown. I had several of our clients there that put the trees, they put the stakes in, they put the trees up, they light the trees. And it's not just us doing that, but it's members of the community, it's business members, it's just everyday citizens that they get teamed up with to do that. So that forms kind of two roles. It gets them into a new environment with people that are not using drugs and alcohol, but it also helps the community realize that these people are not just criminals, they're actual people who are just like us. They just happen to have an alcohol or a drug issue. And so that's really important for the community to recognize, but it's also important for them to recognize that people don't just see them as the quote unquote drug addict criminal.
That's a very good overview, and I thank you for that. I'm just curious, do you have any statistics on your department, rate of recidivism, how many people you see every year? I'm very interested in the program, so, and at some point, if you could get that to me or to the delegation, I think we'd all be appreciative to see that.
Absolutely. Just really quickly, our juvenile program is accredited and we get those assessments every year. And 67% of the kids that come through our program through 5 years of checking them have no repeat offense, chargeable offenses. So we get that through the AOC, Administrative Officer of the Court. The adult side, we haven't been able to keep statistics recently due to NCIC requirements. So I'm not allowed to run criminal records like we used to through the county attorney's office. But prior to the abuses of the NCIC, 77% of our adults through 5 years were not rearrested.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And my door is always open. So call me or come see me anytime. I'd love to sit down and show you our workspace, introduce you to our case managers, and kind of give you an overview of our programs and things that we do with the recovery court, new up and coming mental health court that's going to be starting next year. We're actively involved in. So love to have you come in and see what we do.
Thank you. I will take you up on that. Thank you.
Representative
Two
Martin.
things. First, I want to say, I know two young men that have been through your restorative justice that now are amazing kids, coaching and volunteering in the community today. And also, I was wondering if you could tell us how involved you are with the opioid abusers.
The majority of our adults that come through our program are dealing with fentanyl. Fentanyl and then crystal methamphetamine. So it's not, fentanyl gets the attention because it is in the news, people die immediately from it. Methamphetamine is equally is if not more damaging to our community and to our people because it's very highly addictive and very difficult to get off of because of the way it changes the chemistry, and there's a lot of things that go into that. But the majority of our adults, probably, if I had to put a percentage on it with a guess, I would say probably 95% come in with substance abuse disorder.
Question, Mr. Chair.
Representative Terry.
Yes, thank you. Like Representative Freeman, I too would be keenly interested in any additional details that you can provide to the members of the delegation about the work in restorative justice and the benefits that are accruing to the individuals involved and therefore to all of us as a community, shall we say. In addition, having some of an academic background, I would appreciate it if you, being in the field, would provide us with maybe one or two of what you consider to be the best current academic studies or nonprofit studies that survey restorative justice across the country, so that we can get not only a view of what's happening here locally, but also with respect to the state and the nation. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the delegation? Representative Bobby.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. About if the commissioners could entertain, could indulge me on the subject of revenues, falling revenues in our county. I know that we don't, other counties do not have this problem with falling revenues. And I don't know all the details, but just looking at this quickly, I see a major sort of downturns in some areas, especially the nursing home, which is some drastic percent changes, minus 100%. Change minus 524%. If you could give me just an overview of why, what you think we could do to help that, our falling revenues, so we reverse that trend.
The big
Insight.
The big thing is the co-share that we get. That's where I think you've seen the minus 22%. I'm sorry, that's Medicaid. There's a decrease in our anticipated pro-share. That's really going to hurt us this year. Other than that, it's due to our occupancy rate. Because we are only 2/3 full, so we're not collecting nearly the revenue that we would ordinarily collect.
Mr. Chair, I was speaking with members from Carroll County, and they said that they're doing quite well with their nursing home and occupancy and the way that they collect Medicaid amounts. And I'm not an expert in that, but is there some room for improvement there? We could reverse that trend or look at some different.
The solution to that is workforce. We need more employees. And until we find the magic bullet on how to recruit another 15 or 20 nurses, we can't take more residents in our nursing home. We don't have enough people to take care of them. So if they have managed to do that in Carroll County, that is great for them. That's not our experience here. We're not able to recruit enough people and therefore can't build a nursing home. But our collections, as far as Medicaid and Medicare, we're doing an excellent job. They're collecting more than they ever collected, a higher rate, like 98%.
Yeah, I can't see actually that there's a hole through the first two numbers. I don't know if anybody else has those percent changed on the back of the worksheet. It looks like it's minus. It's small.
Minus 22 on Medicaid.
Minus 22.
Yes. And minus 5% on Medicare Part A.
Okay, thank you. It looks like the meals have fallen off by 100%, or the that's the co-insurance fee.
Yeah, it's cut exactly in half from what was estimated last year, and that's based on our actual collections. Those numbers are in large part due to the mix of from our residents. Would you like to hear from the nursing home administrator? She can.
Sure. I think some of the numbers too, it all depends on what we have for census and what the resident comes in for. If they're a Medicaid or a Medicare resident or private pay, or if they're here for skilled stay. You do have a limited amount of staff, as Deb spoke to. We have probably 15, we would need to get 15 more nurses. And then we've got 10 agency, we'd have to replace them too. So that you're looking at 25 staff members to be able to open the facility at 100% capacity.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the delegation? Representative Comtois.
Thank you. I'm going to go back to the fund balance only because I'm looking at the sheet here. And so my question is at the end of 2024, it looks like we're going to have a $4.7 million fund balance. You're estimating that $1.2 million is going to go back into the fund balance, yet you're reducing the fund balance by that 1.2 million. That hasn't yet gone back into the balance. So wouldn't that be a net zero change in 2025 if you're adding it back and then taking it out? I'm just asking the question.
Yes, it would be.
But on this sheet, it shows that it's coming out.
Right, so for 24, at the end of 24, it will be included in the fund balance. We're making a recommendation that it be used for next year, so it will be removed from the ending 24 and will be set aside reserve for 25 is how the accounting of that works.
Okay, yep, all right, I see that. Perfect. I missed those two numbers. Thank you.
Welcome.
Anything else from the delegation? Are there any questions or input from the public? Would you tell us your name and the town you're from, please?
Sure. My name is Rick DeMark. I'm from Merritt. And I'm here tonight, to speak to the budget request from the Belknap County Conservation District. I'm appointed by the State Conservation Committee to voluntarily serve as a member of the Board of Directors of the County Conservation District. Unfortunately, our chair, Jamie Irving, is unable to be here tonight. Lisa Moore, our program coordinator, is here with me. So I want to be very brief. I know we're at the beginning of the budget process. The Belknap County, especially for the benefit of the new delegation members. The Belknap County Conservation District, along with 9 other county-based organizations, was established under state enabling legislation for the primary purpose of creating and implementing a plan to conserve soil, water, and related resources of the county, voluntarily working with landowners, other organizations, and community. Our mission is extremely important to this Lakes Region County. I want to thank the commissioners for reviewing and recommending our budget request. And we appreciate the delegation's support to our programs over the years. I do want to point out that the district has been level funded for the past 4 years, following approximately 40% budget reduction prior to level funding. This year, we are looking for a 3% increase, $1,700 from last year's request to essentially cover 1/2 of the expenses we find difficult to cover with grants that we hope to receive this year. So in closing, the district and I look forward to meeting with the Budget Review Committee and subsequently the whole delegation to describe and defend the district's role and value to the county and our ability to leverage the funds that we've received from the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the public that would like to have some input or other questions? You state your name and the town you're from, please.
Hi, my name is Katie Pelzar. I live in Bristol, but I work out of CASA, New Hampshire's Laconia office. So I'm here representing CASA of New Hampshire. So we are court-appointed special advocates. We recruit, train, and support volunteers in our community to represent children in court in cases of abuse and neglect. And so I wanted to thank you. Last year was, I believe, the first year of funding from Belknap County. So I wanted to thank you for that. And we're hoping that you'll consider again to fund us again this year. In the past 2 years, we have served pretty evenly fiscal year 2023 and 2024, 110 and 111 local children within Belknap County through the services of our volunteers, also community members who are putting their time and effort into serving these children. But the past 2 years, we've also had to refuse 16 children each year. And so the funding would go towards helping us increase recruitment and training of volunteers so that we can serve 100% of the children in need in our communities.
Does anybody have any questions?
This is not to be interpreted as support or opposition. I just would like to, for information purposes, know how many of the other counties in New Hampshire through their county budgets provide support to CASA. A total of 10, this would be 1. How many of the other 9?
I would have to get back to you with that answer. Yeah, I'm kind of a stand-in tonight. We were double booked.
Sure.
I know that town-wise, I think there are about 5 towns within Belknap County. 5 of the towns, support CASA, but I would have to get back to you
Thank
town-wide.
you, do that, thank you. Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there any other input, questions from the public? Last chance. All right, close the public hearing. I don't have to vote on it. Okay, next on the agenda is the Budget Review Committee membership.
Mr. Chairman, I think I can expedite this. Right. I want to make a motion. I move that the Budget Review Committee of the delegation consist of the 5 members of the Executive Committee, plus an additional 2 members to be elected at large.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Well, no discussion, we'll have to, it's a roll call vote.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, there's no discussion on this?
I asked if anybody had anything, any discussion, there was no
Oh,
discussion.
well, I do have a discussion. I'd like to ask,
Okay.
please. Is this also required to have a Democrat on it?
Yes,
I didn't hear an answer.
yes,
Yes.
you are.
No.
Doesn't-
Oh, on the budget.
Member of the executive committee.
Already on it.
Yeah,
He's already on it.
You're already on it.
He
No,
wants
no,
to-
no, I'm on the executive committee. I'm
Yeah.
asking about the budget committee. Does
Did you hear my
do-
motion?
Well, so,
One at a time, please. Representative Comtois.
thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative St. Clair,
yes,
anyone on the executive committee is a member of the budget committee
By the motion.
by the motion that was made earlier. Or by the motion that
I just
Representative
made.
Terry just made.
by the one he just made,
Yes,
That's you.
but we haven't voted on that yet, right?
We want to vote.
but we voted on, you're on the executive committee. So
I
you
understand.
can't vote no.
Well, if the motion fails.
I heard that.
You're already sentenced.
It's too late.
Can we vote?
Are you all
I
set,
mean-
Representative St. Clair?
Grudgingly so, I guess, all right.
Well, he has to,
He has
because he's
to
the
be.
only Democrat, so he can't get out of it.
He has to be on the executive committee.
No, I'm not trying to get out of the executive committee. I'm just asking about the budget. If it's an
Well, you're
automatic,
You're automatic.
you're automatically on the budget committee.
If the motion passes.
if the motion passes, that's what I wanted to know about.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so this is roll
Well, I
call.
would like to add, if people want to vote this down, then we could open this up. If Representative St. Clair doesn't want to be on the budget committee and other members would like because that's where I think he's going with that. But I don't want to put words in his mouth.
How about if we
You know.
get to that bridge and we get to it?
Just got one motion.
Can we vote?
We have a motion, we have a second, let's do a roll
We have a
call.
discussion?
Yes.
Further discussion, Representative Comtois.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I personally think that a 5-person review committee is sufficient. I don't think that you need 7 people on the budget committee to review it. I think when, if you're doing the deep dive, you only need 5 people. That's my personal opinion. I'll be voting no.
Any
Yeah.
other discussion, Representative Terry?
Well, in support of my motion, I would say this. The persons who were elected to serve on the executive committee were not necessarily elected with the thought in mind that they had budgetary interests and expertise. The opportunity that we have before us by having a 7-member budget committee with 2 additional members being named at large is that we can name 2 people who have particular interest in finance and budgetary matters to further enrich the 5 who are already going to be on the committee if the motion passes by virtue of the fact that they are executive committee members. Thank you.
I think we do need 7.
I'm ready to vote.
Okay, so this is on, 2 extras.
And lay the record show, this is the first time that I have disagreed with Representative Thompson. But she's still my friend.
That's how it's supposed to be. So, a yes vote will be that you want 7.
2 to be 5.
The 5 on the
Automatically
executive committee.
plus
And then
2 at large.
Right. Well, yes is
Yes.
in favor of that.
Yes.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Representative Bean.
Yes.
Representative Bogert.
Yes.
Representative Boards.
Yes.
Representative Comtois.
Nope.
Representative Dume.
Yes.
Representative Freeman.
Aye, 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 aye,
I'm going no just because I want to open, I think there should be 7, but
Boy.
That would be
aye.
7.
The motion is.
The motion is to 7.
no, it's 7. But also it includes the members of the executive committee as automatic members.
Right, plus.
That's
two
the part
alternates.
that
Oh,
I,
you don't want them to automatically be
yeah,
on the
not
budget.
automatic. I want fresh horses.
Okay.
Representative Lunny,
Yes.
Representative Minor,
Yes.
Representative St. Clair.
No,
Thank you, John.
Representative Terry.
Yes.
Representative Toner.
Yes.
Representative Collier.
Yes.
That's 10-3, motion passes.
So we're gonna have 2 nominees. Does anybody want to nominate somebody?
Yes. I nominate Representative Terry.
I decline.
Representative Bogert.
I'd like to nominate, Matt Lenny, I'm sorry.
I'll second that.
You accept?
Yes.
Okay, so gotta do these singularly,
Yes.
You might want one of them and not the other one.
Yes.
I nominate Barb Conrad.
You can't nominate another one yet. We gotta vote on the
You
one.
gotta vote on the first
okay.
one.
One at a time.
So, we want to vote on.
You don't move the nominations be closed because it doesn't make any sense, so you just vote on Representative Blue.
So we gotta do a roll call on Representative Lenny.
Okay,
I think Representative Comtois has a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Representative.
I just wanted to ask Representative Looney, why and kind of what your background is.
Sure, it's just the main reason is small business owner of 12 years. So I do a lot of budget, reconciling, hiring, firing. So I kind of know everything that's needed required to run a business, so I think I could just be just another advocate candidate.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I guess we're gonna vote. Roll call, please.
okay, so Matt, Lunny,
Lenny.
right? For the 4th member of the Budget Committee. Representative Bean,
Yes.
Representative Bogert,
Yes.
Representative Boards,
Yes.
Representative Conqua,
Yes.
Representative Dume,
Yes.
Representative Freeman,
Yes.
votes yes, Representative Lunny,
Yes.
Representative Minor,
Yes.
Representative St. Clair,
yes,
Representative Terry,
Yes.
Representative Toner,
Yes.
Representative Trotter,
Yes.
and motion carries.
Okay, there was an error there. I think you said the 4th member, and I believe it's the 6th.
Oh,
It's okay.
Is that Representative Conklin?
I'd like to make a motion for the other
Nomination.
Okay,
nomination, Representative Toner.
Second.
Second.
Okay, so this time we can see if there's any other nominations, yes, no?
You can now, because
There's
there's
no
no
one.
last one.
Right. So Representative.
So I had a question. So I was considering nominating Representative Trottier over there, but is there a conflict of interest with him being on the sheriff's department?
Yes.
There is.
Yes.
Representative Comtois.
Thank you. Yes, actually, we're probably all gonna have to really be careful this time around with the new ethics rules that we just voted on and conquered. They're a lot more stringent, and so a lot of us may have to recuse ourselves. Just put that out there.
But he wouldn't be able to vote on the subcommittee. He'd be able to still vote on the delegation as long as he,
There's a lot of questions,
there is.
so I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Mr. Chairman, just to add to that, for reference for members of the delegation, in correspondence today with Clerk Smith and Rich Lambert, I was pointed to ethics guidelines 2, Roman 1, XI. I can give you additional information if you would like it after the meeting, but there is a clear mention of conflict of interest with respect to business at the county delegation level as well as at the state level as a member of the House. The language is different than it has been in the past, and I would say it is more stringent than it has been in the past with respect to participation and recusal. So I would urge all members of the delegation to become acquainted with that. So that we don't end up getting in trouble and say we didn't realize that we weren't doing what we shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, we don't want to be sitting in front of the ethics committee. Representative Comtois.
I know this is premature, but once this budget committee is enacted, I guess my question is the last 2 years, we haven't actually been able to have open discussion at the delegation when the budget's been presented. We limited debate immediately, basically, so that we couldn't dive deep into the recommendations from the budget committee. I'm wondering if that's going to be any different this year.
We're in the middle of a nomination.
Yeah.
and
I'm sorry.
we're changing-
Like I said, we really need to move this motion along.
But I said it was premature, so I apologize.
So we have one nominee for the 7th position on the budget review committee.
Make a nomination.
Certainly.
Representative Freeman.
I'll second that.
Okay.
So we have 2. Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, we have a motion to close the nominations.
Yes, I move that nominations be closed.
I'll second.
All in favor, and you got to do a roll
We gotta
call.
do roll call. All understood.
Representative Bean,
Yes.
Representative Bogert,
Yes,
Representative Boards,
Yes.
Representative Comtois,
Yes.
Representative Duman,
Yes.
Representative Freeman.
I,
Votes yes, Representative Lutton,
Yes.
Representative Minor,
yes.
Representative St. Clair,
Yes.
Representative Terry,
Yes.
Representative Toner,
Yes.
Representative Trottier,
Yes.
that's 13-0 motion passes.
Okay, so at this point, we have two nominations. We have Representative Toner and Representative Freeman. Pardon me? So, yeah, we need 7 votes to.
Well, that's right.
You
Just
sure you're right?
double check.
13, yes, 7.
Yeah.
So. Well, it's gonna be, one of them's gonna be over 7 anyway. There's only 2 of them. You gotta worry about that when there's 3. So I guess, when you call the roll, it'll be, you say who you're voting for.
Okay. That's not how my papers
Okay,
are going, so I've got one nomination for one person and one nomination for another person.
okay.
Um,
Representative Comtois.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. May I make a suggestion, Representative? If you put one person's name at the top of one sheet, one person's name at the top of the other sheet, and just tally it that way.
Do that. Yeah. All right. Okay, so for the nomination, please state Freeman or Toner, and Mary Bean.
Freeman.
Representative Bogert
Freeman.
and Representative Boards
Freeman.
and Representative Comtois,
Toner.
Representative Dume
Freeman.
and Representative Freeman.
Freeman.
And clerk votes for Freeman. And Representative Lunny
Freeman.
and Representative Minor. Freeman. And Representative St. Clair,
Freeman.
Representative Terry.
Yep, Tony.
What?
Tony.
Toner. Representative Toner,
Tony.
Representative Trotter.
Freeman.
And that is 10 Freeman and 3. Freeman.
So, you received the right number for be elected, so you're the seventh member of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Now we're down to other business. Representative Comtois.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the time. I just wanted to bring up, we all were sent a document in October for the financial for gun stock. They were extremely late, according to the RSA. It seems that gun stock commission has been violating the RSA as opposed to when we get our the financials for several years. But I'm actually asking the chair if he could get the scope, what the scope of the audit was, and the management letter. Because that really tells the story where we used to have the auditors in here from Gunstock doing a presentation many, before the, a while back. And that hasn't happened again. So we haven't been able to actually speak to the auditors to get this information. But I would like to see, the scope of work that they've done over the last 5 years and the management reports, because that way we can see if they're making progress on what the recommendations are from the audit. Because in this financial review or the audit that you have, it actually states that they cannot say that there is nothing going on. They only say that based on what they're given, they can make a fair representation. And there are a lot of things that they don't audit. So I think having the scope of the audit is extremely important, along with the management letter from when they get the audit. And so I would defer to you, Mr. Chair, to reach out to the commission if you would.
Okay, so would you like me to get the chair of the commission? Or the auditors, or both?
Actually, Mr. Chair, I'm just looking for the letter from the auditors for the scope of the work that they were going to do and the management letter from them. I don't need them to come in. I think that's a good starting spot.
Would you be opposed to them coming in?
No.
Okay, so I'll reach out to the chair of the commission.
Mr. Chairman, in support of that request and appreciative of your commitment to do this, I just say that in my relatively brief time with the delegation and as a representative from Belknap County, I have observed that gun stock has been a highly charged and very divisive issue, which has been exploited by a number of parties, much to my chagrin and regret, and perhaps others who are here as well. I've always believed that the more sunlight that can be shown on the subject, the greater the likelihood that trust can be increased, and a lot of suspicions can be diffused. You are well aware, of course, of the fact that there was a bill that was considered in the last year in Congress with respect to gun stock. And as I reflected upon this, as well as the other events that have occurred over the last 3 or 4 years, I have really come to the conclusion that the more that the commissioners are willing to share with the members of the delegation, and they apparently being very confident that everything is on the up and up, that this will alleviate lingering concerns that some may have with respect to what's actually happening. And so therefore, I don't doubt, particularly being aware of the fact that the bylaws have been amended as a result of recommendations that were made by the Assistant Attorney General with respect to a case that was brought, that they're in compliance. And I think that potential for increasing support, what is taking place at Gunstock with the operation will be advanced by the more that you're able to secure and the more that Commissioner Lambert is going to share with us, as well as the auditing firm being made available to us. Thank you.
Okay, without objection, I would like to see if I can get Mr. Lambert, Commissioner Lambert, and maybe he'll be sufficient.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just like to echo what Representative Terry said. And the thing that I think that's important for everyone to know is that the item that came up from the AG's office never would have been caught by the auditors. It was caught by a private individual because of the dollar amount. So I just want to make that known, that the auditors never would have caught that if it hadn't been brought to the light by a private individual.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So just as a new member of the county delegation, along with several others, we don't have a copy of that audit. We don't have any of the paperwork that Representative Comtois is referring to. So if there's any, what's that?
None of us have a copy of the audit. All we have is a copy of the financial statement.
Right, we don't even have that. So if there's any way that we can get the information, that'd be great.
I think we have. a
Mr.
copy of
Chairman?
the audit.
No. Mr. Chairman, I asked it,
Terry.
Administrator Shaka, didn't you send us a copy of the financial report
Yes.
from April 23 to April 24? That was
That was in October.
Right.
We
Yeah.
weren't elected in October.
well, I was gonna,
I'm sorry,
Yes.
I apologize.
so therefore, it is conceivable that the new members elected in November may not have received that document by the timing or by oversight. And so could you supply that to the new members of the delegation?
Well, it was absolutely not oversight. They were not
Elected yet.
So yes, there's no reason that I wouldn't email it to them as soon as they provide me email address.
So you did get the independent auditor's report.
Yes,
Yes, that's what I was referring to.
yes. Joe, I did not mean to suggest that you personally had been neglectful of doing something you should have done, but I was not specific in my recollection as to exactly when that report was disseminated to members of the delegation, and I was confused. So therefore, I don't want there to be any misunderstanding with respect to that. So everybody did get it.
all the existing members of the delegation at the time that it was made available. Got it.
And so what we're asking for is additional materials that have been made available to the management, to the commissioners, which will answer some additional interesting questions that we have.
Yes, thank you. I.
Great.
Yeah,
So if you wanna-
I did pick
Email me those
Yes,
questions.
yes, certainly.
That way I'll make sure they all get answered.
Yep. Good.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I just, so most or not most, all public organizations must perform either yearly audits, right? And they should be choosing from certified lists, the state of New Hampshire, I don't know if it's from the Attorney General's office, but someone creates a list of auditors. And those findings from the auditors should be made public, and those might be on the Dunstock website or county website. I don't know, you know, that's the way the state works, with any type of subcontractors, nonprofits. So I don't know if that was performed and if we can be steered to that on the website. So this should, any audit should be public information.
Send me in writing.
What's public?
Okay, that's what I
I
assume.
mean, I've seen it. I thought we were emailed a copy.
Any questions that you have that you want me to ask commissioners of the Gunstock, send it to me via email. Okay.
They actually did a whole presentation on it. as
Right.
well.
Representative Comtois.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And just to go to Representative Toner's question is, they do an independent audit every year. They've been using the same firm for several years. However, per the RSA, they're supposed to do certain things with that report that have not been done for many years. Leave it at that.
And what wasn't done with that report?
They haven't posted it where it needs to go, and it's not been done in a timely manner, according to the RSA.
Like I
If
said,
you look up three
you
fifty-nine,
will get me the questions from both of
you'll
them,
be able to read it in there.
you and me. I'll get the questions answered. So give them to Representative Terry, the questions. I'm gonna get Commissioner Lambert here. But I want him to know the questions so that he can find the answers, because he may not have the answers right off the top of his head. So if you give the questions to Representative Terry, he will get them to me, I'll get them to the Commissioner Lambert. And we'll get all of the questions answered at the next delegation meeting. Is there any other business or any other further discussion on Gunstock? Seeing none, we'll open up a public input. Is there any further public input on anything else that's happened? Seeing none, do we have a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Have a second?
Yes.
We have to do a roll call on that?